Okay, this is where I have uploaded my Prezi for the respiratory system for my VLE blended learning unit. What I've done is I've taken the code from Prezi and just embedded it into this area here. Um, and from here, I've set no restrictions or dates so that the resource can be used over and over again without it disappearing. Um, and that is basically it. That's all I have done. If we have a look here, you'll see that this is the area where I would have put the code into, but this is obviously an area for new code. You can see here that this has already been put in. Okay. Once submitted, the Prezi will just come up in this link here. It's taking a little bit of time to come up. When it does, it will just be in here and it'll be perfect. As you can see here, I have included an area for an interactive off-site kind of game. What I've done is I created a game in Purpose Games, and then what I've done is I've added the URL to as obviously a web link to connect to that, which is off-site. I've also added a picture of the Purpose Games so that when you go onto the actual page, you can see that it's a little bit more interactive here. You can see the Prezis come up there, so the page as a whole has a quite a good visual feel. The last area that I included as part of my resources was again another link to another website. So I've done the same thing again, but I've embedded a YouTube clip this time, the same way as I've embedded the Prezi code. Again, I've put in no restrictions to this at all. If I was going to change it around, I think what I would do is I'd probably put on some tracking just to see how many people are accessing this. And then the YouTube clip will come up here. Okay. In Test Canvas, I've also included a test. If we go on to here, because I've already added it, so we'll go back and see how I've done it. I've included a 15 kind of mix and match kind of question where they have to match just individual parts. For example, this top bit here, this structure is split into external and internal cavity. The cavity is composed of tiny hairs and a sticky mucus layer, and then they have to match that with the actual function. Alright. At the end of it, they should get a score out of 15. They've got 5 attempts to do it. You can see here that the actual instructions are very, very clear, and these are all the different mix and match here. What will happen is every time they go in, it will be a random assortment of these questions, so it won't come up the same every time, so there won't be a chance to systematically go through and learn it until you get it right. What they have to do is they have to go and they have to know their stuff, and that will be based on the resources that are also in this area here, this VLE area. Also down at the bottom you can see that I've given some automated feedback, basically just as a bit of a kind of carrot and stick, well done. See if you can name the structure, so it's kind of pushing it a little bit further for those ones that have achieved it, so it's differentiating. And for the lower one, it's about going back to the drawing board, trying to use the resources and come back in again, and that's basically it. Yeah. Okay. So that's all done, that's up here now. What I have done on this one, I've added the statistics tracking just to see how many people are actually going on here, to see if they're accessing it to help their learning. Okay, so again, just to see if it adds to the value of this kind of course, and that in turn affects their learning. Okay, the last area that I've added is this area here, and this is for a written assessment. So again, it's very, very clear on what they need to do. I've even given resources here that they can use, which can be accessed through the VLE. So looking at eBury, ebooks. If we go into it, I'll show you how I've set it up. Here's obviously the how I'm communicating exactly what I want them to do. I've also said that it needs to be submitted before 12 o'clock at midnight, just purely for flexibility, because people or learners, students, teachers, whoever, if they have to get a bus, have a long journey home, they may not be able to get in at 4:30 dead. It may be a case they go home, they make their tea, they do their family things, then they have time to do their work. So I like to think this is a bit more flexible. I've put in the grading here, 6 points available, and that's 2 points for each correct definition. I've also only allowed one single attempt, so it has to be perfect on the first time. I've also limited the availability. There were two ways that I could have done this. I could have either limited the availability so that people can submit their assignments, and that's what I chose to do because I wanted a strict deadline, or I could have done due date and had a look at the people that were over the due date. Again, it's horses for courses, depends on how you want your learners to be. In this particular bit, this is kind of something that I'd maybe use in the beginning, just to make sure that everyone's on the same page. We submit that. It comes up here, and then I can access those assignments through the grade center, and if we look on here, we'll see that we've got a few available. We'll have a look at this one here. So this one's been graded by Ben, and here it is here. So he got 4 out of 6, and he's got his feedback here from me, which he can access when he goes to look at his assignment. Okay, and that is evidence for all the uploaded materials.